When Einstein, Bohr, and Heisenberg began mapping the subatomic world, they shared a source of inspiration that had absolutely nothing to do with modern science. In the 1920s, the reliable laws of Newtonian physics, where every action has a predictable, measurable reaction, began to fail. As researchers looked deeper into the atom, the logical rules of reality seemed to dissolve. The new mathematics of quantum mechanics worked perfectly on paper, yet the reality those equations described made no sense. Physicists were finding particles that could exist in multiple places at exactly the same time, behaving as both a solid and a wave. These scientists had the math, but they lacked a philosophical framework to interpret what they were seeing. To make sense of their own equations, some of the most brilliant minds of the 20th century turned to the ancient wisdom of the East. Texts like the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita became bedside reading for these physicists. The ancient Sanskrit verses offered a structural way to conceptualize the baffling subatomic landscape they had just uncovered. The atomic age was shaped in laboratories, but its theoretical foundations were heavily influenced by humanity's oldest spiritual philosophies. Werner Heisenberg, the German physicist, discovered the uncertainty principle, which led to the measurement problem. He proved that the mere act of observing a particle alters its physical state. This rattled the scientific community. It meant there was no such thing as an independent, objective reality. The observer and the reality being observed were permanently intertwined. Thousands of years earlier, Vedic sages described a concept known as drug drisha viveka, the discrimination between the seer and the seen. They taught that the observer and the observed are not separate, but arise together. A wave of possibilities only collapses into a single state through the act of interaction. In this ancient framework, consciousness isn't a byproduct of physical matter. It is the substrate of the universe, the foundation that allows physical reality to exist. Heisenberg struggled with the implications of his own work until he spent time in India speaking with the philosopher Rabindranath Tagore. Heisenberg later admitted that these conversations helped him accept his crazy quantum discoveries by showing they aligned with a worldview that had thrived for millennia. Heisenberg realized the bizarre mechanics of quantum physics were a mathematical echo of an ancient spiritual tradition. Then there is quantum entanglement, the phenomenon where two separate particles become mysteriously linked, acting as a single entity and instantly reacting to one another, regardless of the physical distance between them. Erwin Schrödinger, the architect of quantum wave mechanics, also faced a crisis of logic. To decipher the math he was creating, he kept a copy of the Upanishads by his side. Those texts detail the concept of Maya, the idea that the apparent multiplicity of the universe, that objects and people exist as separate things, is an illusion. Beneath that illusion lies Brahman, the singular, undivided whole that constitutes the true nature of the cosmos. Everything that appears separate is actually part of a single, continuous fabric. Schrödinger adopted this view, concluding that our perception of consciousness as plural is a false construct. His wave mechanics pointed directly to a unified system. Schrödinger's math modeled a universe where physical separateness is an illusion, revealing a unified cosmos beneath the surface diversity. This connection between ancient philosophy and modern physics scaled all the way up from the microscopic level to the tangible reality of the atomic bomb. Robert Oppenheimer, the scientific director of the Manhattan Project, taught himself Sanskrit to read the Bhagavad Gita in its original language. He relied on it to process the immense power of atomic vision. Within the text, he found a framework for the dual nature of cosmic creation and destruction. As the mushroom cloud rose during the Trinity test, he recalled the verse, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." Zooming further out, astrophysicist Carl Sagan observed that modern cosmology, the Big Bang and the universe's expansion, aligns with ancient Hindu timescales. The Vedas describe kalpas, immense cyclical periods of creation and dissolution, spanning billions of years. This rhythm is personified by the Nataraja, the depiction of Lord Shiva performing the cosmic dance of destruction and rebirth. From the scale of the atom to the lifespan of galaxies, 20th century science repeatedly found its discoveries mirrored by the metaphors of ancient Hindu thought. It is important to be intellectually precise here. Ancient Hindus did not literally invent quantum mathematics, and the Vedas are not empirical science textbooks. Reducing these spiritual texts to proto-science disrespects both the rigor of modern physics and the depth of ancient spirituality. The true profundity lies in how two different methodologies, empirical observation and deep contemplative introspection, arrived independently at the same core insights about the nature of reality. They serve complementary functions. Empirical science explains the how, the math and the raw data. Vedic philosophy explores the what and the why, addressing consciousness and our ultimate interconnectedness. Empirical physics and ancient Hindu Dharma are not in conflict. They are simply two distinct, beautiful languages attempting to describe the same mysterious reality.